Well, maybe Ronda Rousey can help them.
Yeah.
She's getting credit for everything else. Jesus Christ.
Ronda Rousey in UFC 190, she put her undefeated record on the line, playing against fighting Bethe Correia from Brasilia.
Who?
Brasilia.
I'm sorry.
Brazil. She's a 32-year-old undefeated. She's a 32-year-old undefeated challenger too. And the fight only lasted 34 seconds. Actually, prior to the fight, Correia was talking a lot of trash. She even referenced Ronda Rousey's father, who committed suicide. So she went way under the belt, and I guess it showed up in the fight itself because she didn't last that long. But this has been a recurrent thing in Rousey's fights. Her fights, this past fight, 34 seconds last. It was actually 20 seconds over the last fight, and you do the math. That's 14 seconds. So she's pretty good, and I think the what people are really complaining about is the fact that the fights aren't lasting long. So people who are paying on pay-per-view, they're not really getting their money's worth. So it's kind of like the Mike Tyson syndrome, where he was knocking out guys in the first round and you didn't really get to see anything. And it's kind of like the opposite of Mayweather, who she was clowning, a couple weeks ago. Sure. When you watch him, you know what you're gonna get. It's gonna be a 12-round fight. You're gonna get your money's worth. But she's taking people out, and it could have hurt her value going forward. Maybe people are not gonna watch because she's in a sport where she's the the male. She's not male, but you know what I mean. She's dominating everybody,
right?
And people are starting to complain like, "Where's the field?" Yeah. People aren't good enough. So.
Well, that's my
But she
complaint.
can't help that.
No, but I mean, all I can say is that's been my complaint from the beginning. There's been other fighters, Gina Carano, who you guys may remember.
Yeah, she's good.
Beautiful girl. A lot of hype from Dana White. Yeah. This was going to be our American All-Star. She had movies already set up for her. Yeah. She went into the first fight with a Brazilian competitor, got wiped all over the mat within the first 90 seconds. Yeah. So she was out, and I don't even know if she's making movies anymore.
Yes.
Well, that's great. Yeah, but that's what she was made for, to make movies. I mean, it wasn't to be a champion of a respected sport. With Ronda Rousey, she has had a cup of coffee here with 11 fights now, her 12th fight. Can you name two of her competitors?
But see, it's hard to say that. But when you see her work out and you see how the time she puts into being who she is, it's not her fault that the field isn't as good enough to compete.
But do you know how many workout warriors I could put a camera on that look great working out?
Congratulations.
I'm gonna say go anywhere.
But we say the same thing. We say the same thing about Mayweather when he goes into the ring with top.
I know who his competitors are, though.
Yeah, and he makes those guys look minimal, and then people complain that they weren't good enough.
But let's be clear. Let's be clear. His competitors have some championship belts. They've actually fought some other, some other competitors that have a name.
Maybe Ronda Rousey's field needs a pep talk about their career goals and get better.
Look, I don't blame the marketing gods from Dana, Dana White at UFC. I don't blame ESPN from pumping up this, this champion. They like her, what have you. But I'm hearing comments, especially I wrote a response to Michael Wilbon, who I respect a lot, who was giving this woman unbelievable credit. Yeah. And even against his own standards, he's like, she's attractive. He brought her beauty into picture. Yeah. And we've had this conversation as it relates to other fit women like Serena Williams, who've been contrasted with men and being contrasted as someone who's not appealing necessarily. They're giving this woman a lot of credit. Athlete of the Year, the ESPYs to me are a joke anyway. But to give her Female Athlete of the Year when, there's clearly other choices. I just think it's I think it's a little overblown, a little early. Yeah. Right. Let her earn her stripes. Let's get the competition factor up. And then I'd be glad to say, hey, you know what? She's got some credibility there.